Hey. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to Dr. D's Takes. Today I'm John here again with Abby here. How you doing today, Abby?
I'm doing good.
All right, good deal. And so we're coming on a day after a very exciting win last night. Before we jump into the content, once again, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so we can reach as many Thunder fans across the nation as humanly possible. So with that being said, we got to ask ourselves, are we thinking OKC might have mentally broke the Spurs last night?
I think so. I think a great point to look at and point to it would be that the AJ Mitchell foul where he got a flagrant one, which I don't agree with, but that's another thing. But I think showing that we could get into Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell's head like that, it's a great sign for the series moving forward.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you, here's my thing. I felt like for the first time yesterday, I saw Spurs begin to look frustrated. I thought they looked really frustrated. And so my thing was as they were looking frustrated, I did an earlier show where I said I thought we were showing them too much respect. And I'm seeing that shift a little bit. And I think that really works in our favor because, like I said, they are looking really frustrated. And of course, the whole narrative with the Thunder is a dirty team and blah, blah, blah. Everybody's trying to play up that narrative. But I think this is a little deeper than that. I think OKC is playing with a swagger. Even the crowd, I thought it was really funny to see them leaving with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. So, so I think we're breaking their spirit as well. And so it's like the Thunder really truly look like right now the more mature team. And so, we had talked about that before. What are your thoughts on the experience or the inexperience of the Spurs being in a situation like this before?
I think it's a huge factor. I think this is the first real playoff test the Spurs have to face. I mean, Minnesota kind of tested them, but I don't think they're even like on the same level as the Spurs. And the only way they even won those games was with the Wemby elbow. And the first game, like Wemby had an awful shooting game, like which credit to the Wolves. But I think this is the first time those Spurs are getting really tested, and we'll see what happens from that.
Yeah, and I'm telling you what, man. Now we know Shea is our MVP. We know that. But when as far as the playoffs is concerned, I tell you what, man, I'm gonna have to get Caruso. That boy there. He just if you really understand the game of basketball, I know I had a few people that were trying to tell me that the Bulls won that deal because Giddey's a good player. I like Josh Giddey. He just wasn't for us. And Giddey is a triple-double machine. He's good for a team like the Bulls. But the numbers don't tell the story. What Caruso is doing for our team, you really can't even put a price tag on it. He just completely uplifts our spirits. And you can just see that as soon as they bring him in the game. So, I mean, from your perspective, even as a fan, when you're sitting back watching it, how do you start to feel when you see Caruso come in the game?
Just to like, I guess preface it. When you first traded like Josh Giddey for Caruso, I was like a huge Giddey fan, and I was like super like upset because like we traded a 23-year-old who I really believed in for like a 30-year-old veteran who I thought he was gonna help, but like from what I thought to what Caruso's been impacting, especially in the last playoff run and this one, it's been like 9 and 8. Like he comes in and like we go from a team that looks like shocked that just gets like punched in the mouth 15-0 start, and he comes in and then the team's completely different. We're making better passes, we're playing better defense, we're like going aggressively after like the ball. He changed everything once he checked into the game last night.
And I agree with you, but the only difference was, and I have to admit, I like Josh Giddey just fine, but in that Dallas Maverick series, I also knew that version of OKC couldn't take the next step because which Giddey actually I don't know if you've been paying attention to him since he left. He's become a much better 3-point shooter now. But I just didn't think his skill set meshed with Shea.
I agree with that. Like, I don't think Giddey was what the team needed at all. Like the defense liabilities, the lack of a 3-point shot. Like,
right.
His skills, which I think he's really good at. I think he's one of the best passers in the league. It's not what the team needs. So like,
right.
I think it was a win-win trade on like looking
I
back.
agree. I agree 100% with that. And and two, thinking about it from the perspective of Giddy was on defense, like you mentioned. I mean, he was just he didn't fit the schematic need that we needed for Oklahoma City Thunder, kind of that positionless basketball that we try to play. And so the Mavericks, if you remember that series, they were completely just sitting back off of him, letting him shoot. And on defense, they were really exposing. And the thing that was really good about Giddy, he's 6'8". And so he gave us kind of an extra rebounder. But when they, when we were acquiring Caruso, I remember thinking, I mean, same thing. I thought, you're giving up a real young player for an older player. But at the same token, you had to remember, too, it was about time to pay Giddy. He was about to get, and I was thinking, you know what? Sam Presti, typically when it gets time to pay somebody like that, that's why I knew Usman Dang was about to get traded this year. Yeah. That he learned from that Kevin Durant situation. I don't think he's ever going to put himself in a situation again where OKC is just losing a player for nothing, And so that's kind of why I think the writing's on the wall for Lou Dort. I just think that, as I said in our last episode, and no fault of Lou Dort, it's just that I think he is expendable now, based on what Case and Wallace is doing, and he's still on that rookie, contract. And so, like I said, getting back to Caruso, I mean, it's like when he enters the game, literally, it's just like I think we were down 15-0 when he entered yesterday, and it was just like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. And we fell down 15-0. I was feeling pretty sick. I was like, is this going to be one of those nights? Because, every now and then the Thunder act like they forgot how to play basketball. Yeah. And I was like, is this going to be one of those nights where we just no show and they blow us out by like freaking 30 points? I was not feeling good at all when we were down 15-0. What were you saying?
I was telling my dad that like I try to prepare myself for everything like going into the game so I don't get too upset. But then like I see 15-0 and like when it's 15-0, you don't think like that's it. You think, oh, they could add more to that. Like you don't know that that's the end of it. So I was like really mad back then. But like once Caruso came in, he just like it's like he doesn't let the score phase him. He just like comes in and like this is the energy we have to play with. Let's play with it.
He's a great model. Literally, excuse me, for this team, he is a great model of how to deal with adversity. Because he brings the same effort. Which I'm going to tell you the thing that's crazy about Caruso, and it works. And for any other player that operated this way, people would probably criticize him. But Caruso during the regular season, he really does save himself if you think about it. He doesn't play like that during the regular season. I mean, he's still playing hard, but he doesn't exhaust himself at the same level that he does once the lights come on in the playoffs. He's like a different guy when the playoffs start, and he'll admit that himself.
I think it's the perfect role for him.
Right.
Just being a 16 million player.
And so I'm glad. I think when we re-upped him, what was it, last year? I think we did his new contract, 4 years. 4 years for $80 million. I think that was last offseason.
4 years.
And so I think, that's a good thing. And I think that's another reason Dort is probably out of here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say he has 3 more years on that deal. And I feel pretty confident he's going to be productive, at least like the next 2 of them.
Yeah, because I think they're real careful in how they use him. And I think, 32 is not that. You look at me, I don't think 32 is old at all. But I'm just saying, obviously in the NBA life, he's considered an older player. But I do think that's why, because of his reckless style of playing, that's why they try to protect him the way that they do. But it's like when he comes in, it's just like the swagger changes. There's like this leadership and intensity that he brings to the floor. He just makes winning plays. And a lot of the plays he makes, they don't show up in the box score. He just does so many of the intangibles. And so, he's, in my opinion, I think he's kind of become like that, like the emotional leader, because Shea is kind of a quiet leader. But Caruso and I think Jay Will, to a lesser extent, has started to step up into a role of where he's become like an emotional piece as well. What's your thoughts on how Jay Will showed up last night?
I thought it was great. I think last time I was talking about how it wasn't the series for him. And I still don't think like defensively, like there's a role for him, but like whenever they're doubling on Shea and you're kicking it out to somebody, I feel pretty confident with Jay Will taking those open threes. Like yesterday, obviously he made like a crazy amount. He made like was it 5 or 6, and he had like the and one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if he's able to like knock down a three, I think he's gonna thrive in like certain specific minutes.
Yeah, he was 5 or 6 shooting threes, and I mean the thing with Jay Will, he was not. I mean, it was like the ball wasn't even in his hands very long. He was shooting with so much confidence. He was just letting it fly, And like I said, he seems to me that he's along with Caruso, and I don't want to jump too far ahead because we're going to talk about this later about our role players. But I think McCain is also starting to become an emotional leader for us, a little spark plug.
Right.
Those 3 guys last night were unbelievable. They really were. It's really astounding. I think we scored 76 bench points.
Yeah,
That's
something like
crazy. That is crazy. And so, so I've been on. I always try to jump on social media a little bit just to kind of get the pulse of what people are saying. And so, I always like to kind of add part of this to what we're doing here. And so I wanted to share a couple of things. Excuse me. So, the big thing they're always talking about is flopping. And I don't know if you caught at one point of the game where excuse me, where Shea was shooting free throws and like the whole crowd was chanting flopper, flopper, flopper. And I was just like, okay. Half the people in the crowd probably don't even know what flopper means, but whatever. And he's unfazed by it. But okay, let's see. What is McCain? He's what, 6'3", I think. How much does he weigh? Not very much. 200 maybe? I don't know. But we would agree he's not like this big brute of strength like a Lou Dort, right? Okay, so help me understand this part here. Let's watch Wemby. Explain that.
Yeah, I don't see the contact to his head.
I mean,
don't know why he whipped his head back.
So I'm trying to figure out why are we not seeing this all over? He gets bumped. Watch Wemby's head. I'm slowing it down. Look, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. I got hit by McCain. Stop it. I don't even want to hear anything about flopping. And here was another one because, I'm all over trying to kind of clip examples. Now, so I remember during the game when this occurred, I about lost it. This was literally the same play that happened for Shea. And they didn't call a foul when Shea did it. Wemby comes down and it's literally the exact same thing, gets 2 free throws. You remember this moment? Check this one out. So Wemby bumps him. Whoop, he throws it up. There was no foul. Now watch this, Wemby. Same thing, and they called a foul.
I don't even think it's the same thing. I feel like Shea at least got Wemby like jumping in the air and off balance. Like Hartenstein, he stood his ground. Like I guess you could say he has his hand there, but that's a soft call. Like if you're gonna call that, if you're gonna be okay with that, then you have to be okay with like a lot of stuff that happens for Shea.
Right. And I tell you what, it's kind of like we spoke about before. I feel that they are definitely protecting Wemby. Now, Spurs fans would tell you otherwise. But this man, you literally, and it's so funny, it depends on which side of the fence you're on. I try really hard. Now, yes, I bleed Thunder blue, but I also try not to glaze my team to the point that I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid, not being real with people. Okay? I feel like they protect Wemby way more than Shea. I feel like Shea gets fouled a lot and they don't call it, to tell you the truth, anymore. Whereas Wemby, Hartenstein got called for a couple of fouls last night. Chet did as well. Those were not fouls. But they are just literally protecting Wemby, in my opinion, because one, I think you got the Spurs behind the scene sending these reports to the NBA. Two, you got the fan bases, all the San Antonio fan bases, they're whining and complaining. They're on Twitter and, You got the media glazing the Spurs, Reggie Miller, Lures, I mean, it's just, I think it's almost like what they call winners fatigue. Teams are just, I think people are just tired of us winning.
Yeah,
And we just
definitely.
become like the favorite enemy right now.
Like that third quarter was insane. Like I think we got into the bone. They put the Spurs were in the bonus like 6 minutes into the game, and then Fernando's like clear fouls, like
Mm-hmm.
such like soft calls with Stephon Castle just running to the basket and like getting touched, and then two free throws. Like I honestly think our defense was really good back then. Like we would have had like a really good lead going into the fourth if they just like didn't put us into bonus so early, and two also didn't call those fouls.
Exactly. I agree. But yet and still, we found a way. And I'm just man, I was just so excited about the outcome because I was really worried going into the game, game 3, with it being their first game at home, with us having no J Dub, and with them having both Harper and Fox available. And I was like, ooh, this could be tough, you know. And that's like I said earlier, when we fell behind 15-0, it was like, ooh, this is not good. But lo and behold, our boys found a way to bounce back. So we've talked about the whole flopping double standard. The other thing that I saw people disputing today was the whole Lou Dort is dirty thing again. So again, I come with receipts. Make it make sense. So this play here, now we know Fox is back with his, he came back from his ankle sprain. People were saying this was a dirty play by Dort. Personally, I disagree with that. Now, I'm going to back this up and I'm going to slow it up. Lou Dort is going for the ball. Lou's ball. Is Lou Dort even looking at his ankle, first of all? Lou Dort is looking at the ball.
I think Lou, a lot of this stems from just like he's a very physical player. He's a lot
Right.
bigger in size, and he's very determined to get what he wants. So if he sees a ball on the floor, he's never gonna not die for it, and that's what you want in a scrappy defender or player like Lou Dort. And like a lot of the times, like I think people say it's dirty just because of the reputation, but then the reputation's kind of built off of like plays that aren't like dirty, but I
Right.
guess you could call them reckless. Like some of them,
Right.
I don't even think this is reckless. I think like Fox just got hurt, but like
I agree.
I
And if
think
you look at like where I've frozen it right here, he is literally, Lou Dort is completely angled at that basketball. Right? His
yeah,
Fox's ankle has nothing to do with what Dort is focused on. He's going for the ball, just like Fox is going for the ball. So it was the follow through. I mean, is Dort supposed to be able to freeze himself in the middle of the air and not fall on the ground? Is that what our Spurs friends are want us to expect here? So of course, when he lands, Dort is still not focused on Fox's ankle. And then that's the part right there that called his ankle. People want to call that a dirty play. That's what our Spurs friends are saying. So again, I come with receipts, sir. I come with receipts. So if we're going to go there, let's take a look at our good friend Wemby one more time in the game before. Remember that play?
yeah,
But I didn't hear too much from the Spur fans about Wemby diving. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. I mean, that literally could have took Shea out. So I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think like it's a definitely a double standard because you see plays like that happen all the time, and because it's somebody like Dort, like and people like this generally don't like Dort, so then they're like, oh, we see as this history, we see like other people are calling him dirty, like Minnesota fans, Denver fans. So let us call him dirty too, because it's like we'll feel validated. But like you can't convince me that what Dort did yesterday was dirty.
Right. I would agree. And so, the good news is this. I'm glad that we have a team where these guys are young enough that, if anything, I think this outside noise motivates them. You know, it made me happy when I heard the crowd chanting flopper to Shea, because what they're probably not realizing is Shea is the type of player. He kind of has that Michael Jordan in him. I'm not saying he's Jordan, but I think he has that same great players that are wound like Shea, Kobe, and Jordan. They feed off that kind of stuff. You know, he's not the type. Now let's look at somebody like Kevin Durant. I used to like Durant. I'm not gonna say I didn't, but Durant, in my opinion, is also the type that would let that kind of stuff get to him. You know, he would be online arguing with people on Twitter, and he cares about the crowd liking him and that kind of thing. Shea doesn't really care. As long as he'll tell you quick, I'm sure the opponents don't like me. I'm sure their crowd doesn't like me. I wouldn't like me either if I were them. So I mean, he's just real even keel about not letting that stuff get to him. You know, and so I just think that's the benefits of having a young team, is that they hear the outside noise. You think about it with Case and Wallace. What is he, 22? Those guys are on Twitter. They're on social media. They're on Instagram. They know all of this stuff is being said about them. They're sharing that with the veteran players. So, I mean, even as a human, it's hard for me to believe that that alone wouldn't help motivate them in their youth. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I think the fact that this team has so much outside noise right now and they're so young, and it's been like a couple of years now. Like I think from 2024, we've just been getting maybe not as much, but like as time goes on, you're getting more and more like outside noise and hate and stuff like that. I
Right.
think if they could use that and like blind it out and still perform like they are now, it's a great sign because that shows like in the future they're gonna have all these like experiences. Like I could go into San Antonio game 3, super loud crowd and still like not turn the ball over. Like Shea, like all the time he was like handling the ball, they're chanting flopper, and he's making always the right reads. He didn't have
Right.
like a high turnover game, which would be understandable. I mean, obviously you don't want it, but like for all like the hands Shea was seeing, like you wouldn't be surprised to see a few turnovers.
I would agree with that, but you're right. He handled it pretty well. Now, I'll tell you, when I was afraid, um, why, even though I thought McCain played well, it was still scary watching him handle that ball. And AJ Mitchell as well. I mean, I don't know. I'll talk about this a little bit once we get into our grades, but AJ Mitchell, I'm not he excuse me, he's scaring me with the ball in his hand. I'll just put it like that. He doesn't look comfortable. Um, and that's been kind of a surprise to me, you know, which I think that's really where we're missing J Dub probably more than anything else, just having another ball handler with size, you know, on the floor. But, with that being said, you think about it, we lost the game where J Dub played the whole game. It's kind of strange. Even when you look at the regular season games, we were like 24-1 without J Dub or something like that.
Yeah.
And I know it's just a coincidence, but we really didn't start losing more until J Dub came back. And so, I mean, I don't know if there's something to that, but I mean, what is your thought on that? I know it's not because of J Dub, because he's our second best player, but why do you think that factors in?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident it's not anything to do with Jada because like you, I mean, you see a lot of like times where like a player comes to a team, they're definitely talented, but then whenever they play, the team loses. Like I could think of like Carmelo when he was on the Thunder, he was
Right.
like that. But I think that comes from like when players are like too ball stoppy and they don't make the right pass, they don't play within the flow of the offense, or they don't play good defense. All of those doesn't describe J Dub. He plays great defense. He's
Right.
great at passing, and like I think he plays within the flow of the offense. So I don't see why it would be like that. I think the reason we started losing more is I think our schedule is pretty easy, like opening up. And then we started to play like the Spurs and stuff, and like it started to like spiral in on itself like that when J-Dub was back. Like he came in for the toughest part of the schedule. I think our losses were like Spurs, Minnesota, like good teams like that. Like so I don't think
Yeah.
it's for J-Dub.
And I would agree with that. And I do think that it affects our chemistry a little bit, not necessarily in a negative way, but it would be one thing. I mean, just because you become used to playing with the guys that are there. And that was my one concern with initially removing AJ from the starting lineup, because I do feel like he had kind of gotten some really good momentum going as a starter. Um, Granted, I don't think he's played very well. Um, Not terrible, but I don't feel like his impact has been the same. Granted, the Spurs, their guards are huge. I mean, Fox is not very big, but Castle, Vassell, and they play Champagne a lot at the guard. I mean, they're big out there, you know. And I do think that's kind of caused some challenge to AJ from the ball handling perspective. But hopefully, he'll step it up. And so let's talk about a guy that I've kind of ridiculed a little bit. So I got to get your thoughts on my man Chet. Chet, in my opinion, I think he's doing better. I think I still would like to see him be a little more aggressive, but I thought last night there were spurts of him. Maybe somebody, I told you I want him to drink a bottle of hot sauce. Maybe somebody gave him a spoonful. He played, I thought, a little bit more aggressive yesterday. His rim protection was there again because I thought he got called for some fouls that he didn't really commit. But like his confidence on offense, I just think we need a version of Chet that, particularly when J-Dub is not playing, we really need Chet to be an offensive threat. I mean, what are your thoughts on how Chet played last night?
I thought the last two games he's been better, definitely. Like, but it's still not like Chet to what he can be, and maybe like that's not possible with Wemby like taking away a lot of the advantages we have with Chet. So that's what I'm thinking maybe. But like I do think he could be more aggressive, like in different aspects, like rebounding and stuff. Like that stuff. I don't think it's anything to do with Wemby. I think that's just Chet.
I would agree with that. And I do think, like I said, I mean, I'm thrilled that Coach Dagnall has continued to keep size on Wemby. And, I still really don't understand why we didn't do that game one, but that's whatever. We can't change it now. But I do think Wemby is slowly but surely wearing down. I think he is exhausted. And this is just game 3, and I think that we can, the fact that we can go from iHeart to Chet, at least to get as close to his size. And, I talked about that. Nobody's going to completely stop him. But I think yesterday he only had 4 rebounds? I don't think he had very many.
And he wasn't attempting too many shots either.
Right. He shot 8 out of 15. He only had 4 rebounds, 2 block shots. So, I mean, can I say we figured him out? No, but I will say this. I think we have neutralized him about as much as you can. And I think that's why they're getting frustrated and crying, oh, they're grabbing him. They're doing it. They are getting frustrated, which plays into our favor immensely. I just think they haven't run into anything like this yet because, I don't want to be the person to be like, I told you so. But I tried to tell everybody, regular season and playoffs are 2 different things. All of this, well, they beat y'all 4 out of 5. Okay. Number one, we weren't, and we're still not completely healthy, but it's different when you're playing the same team over and over and over, and you can completely plan for them. And I trust us in that kind of situation, So, we had talked about, Chet's impact, obviously with Shea, and you had mentioned earlier how, Shea is just doing a good job of controlling the pace. And I would agree with that. He's picking his spots. Now, sometimes I do think with Shea, he gets a little hungry to try to seal the deal, and the ball gets a little sticky with him at the end to where I think he's just like trying so hard for that knockout blow, And I'm thinking to myself, man, come on, Shea, keep moving the ball. But I do think you think about this. All of the different defenses the Lakers threw at us. And then the Spurs came in and they've been going at them hard. After yesterday, if I'm a Spurs guy or a Spurs coach or a Spurs fan, yuck. It's the thought of that disgusts me. But anyway, if I were, I think they're running out of answers. Because is this defense really working that you're forcing the ball out of Shea's hand, but the defense or the bench scores 76 points? What's your next move? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, do you think the Spurs are running out of answers?
Yeah, I think so. If I had to guess, I think next game they're actually not going to double Shea as much. They're going to try to be like, okay, we'll play him honest. We'll play him one-on-one. And I think Shea will have better scoring and efficiency numbers. And they'll see how that works out for them. I don't think that's going to work because then Shea's going to get his. And I still think it's not one or the other. I think both Shea can get his and also the team can get theirs.
I would agree. I think that I don't think you can continue because it would be one thing if Shea's IQ wasn't as high as it is. Because I mean he's not a selfish player. Now let's don't get it wrong. He doesn't mind shooting the ball. We know that. But Shea also is a very high IQ player that sees the floor well. I don't know if you remember that pass at the end of the game where we were about 10. And at that point, I was still a little bit worried. It was like 2 minutes, 2:30 left, something like that. And they doubled him, and he made that pass way on the opposite side of the court to Case and Wallace. And Case knocked down that three. To me, that was like the play of the game as far as sealing the deal. Because I still think the Spurs had a little run in them had that not happened. But to me, that play turned out the lights. And so, I mean, I got to give kudos to Shea. I think he absolutely is willing to share the glory with his teammates, and I think that's why they're where they are. So let's talk about the unsung heroes, our role players, and we touched on that a little bit earlier. Your thoughts on mainly, in my opinion, Caruso, J. Will, and McCain?
I thought they were all great. I think first I feel like I have to start with McCain because he actually wasn't doing a lot of his damage from the three. He was actually kind of inefficient for them. He was I don't remember the exact percentage, but he wasn't super efficient on the threes.
Yeah, he was actually, I think he shot 2 out of 10 on his threes.
He was getting a lot of his damage from attacking Wemby, attacking the paint, and he got a lot of tough finishes, I guess a couple of mid range too. I think for McCain, you expect to get the shooting, but you don't expect to get this other stuff. So the fact that we got it yesterday was amazing, and I think he shot poorly. If you just look at the percentage of past 2 games, I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer.
I would agree because I feel super confident when he shoots the ball, and when he misses, I'm like, because it's like he has earned the benefit of the doubt. Here's the good news: the fact that he's shooting so inefficiently, he's due for a really hot game, to be in my opinion. And we're winning with him. Just having him out there, it's opened up the floor so much. And he has an attitude where he's not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid of the moment. And I saw an interview with him where he was talking about he's had big games in high school. Of course, he played at Duke. They've had a lot of big games. And he said he always feels like he's going to make his next shot. And so it's kind of funny when you look at the stats. He shot more than anybody on the team, including Shea, which is really kind of funny when you think about it. But I mean, who would have thought when we made that trade that Jared McCain would be such a huge cog in what's going on right now? I was excited when we got him because I knew a lot about him. I've always liked him. And I knew the Thunder were looking at him even in the draft, in the Sixers. I knew we had our eye on him then. But, I do want to say this about McCain before we continue this conversation. And I'm Presty. That is my guy. I love him to death. But it does kind of irritate me sometimes when people act like the only reason he's good is just because, everything Presti does. Presti has made some moves too that weren't so good. I mean, you think about it, Dylan Jones got drafted in the first round. Was that last year?
Yeah.
Ahead of AJ Mitchell and all those guys. Now, I give him credit. It was to the point where it's like, okay, well, we were willing to swallow our pride and get rid of him when we saw, oh, no, this AJ Mitchell kid is better. Some teams are so political, they probably would have kept Dylan Jones, because he was a first round pick. And so, but I don't think that the Sixers, it's not like they just, people, thank you, Philadelphia, thank you, Sixers. They didn't just give him away. They got a first round pick in 3 seconds for him. So, I think people are trying to sing that narrative as, the Sixers just handed it. We gave him 4 picks. That's a lot of picks for one player, So, I still give him credit, but it's just kind of the thing I keep seeing is that people are making it like, just because we got him, we worked this miracle and we fleeced Philadelphia and blah, blah, blah. And I don't necessarily agree with that, So, to the point, I'm thrilled with what Jay Will, Caruso, and McCain, what they're doing. And they're absolutely outplaying our starters right now, if you think about it. And it's not really close. So so now the narrative is turned to I saw where people were saying that Shea is getting carried. It's just like I don't care what happens, people are they hate that man so bad, there's always something. Now he's being carried by his team. He's not the real MVP. So it's kind of whatever. But at any rate, we just hope that those guys our role players continue to do what they're doing. Another moment that gave me a lot of confidence was while the Spurs were trying to pick fights and doing all of that kind of nonsense. I don't know if you noticed, but when that one skirmish broke out and they showed the Thunder's bench, our guys over there laughing and smiling. Did you notice that?
Yeah, Isaiah Joe did that fake run.
Right. So, what were your thoughts on that? When you saw on one side, you got a team that's all mad and fighting and wanting to attack people. And then they show our guys and they're over there playing around and being silly. Did you get any kind of reaction when you saw that?
Yeah, I don't think anybody was ever really upset on the Thunder side. I feel like they always had their head in the game. They're always thinking okay, what am I going to do to win the game? And you can say the same about the Spurs. They just wanted to fight. I don't know why. I feel like those are the Caruso foul and the AJ Mitchell foul. Those are both 2 good playoff fouls. I don't understand where the animosity comes from.
I agree.
I guess it's fine. You got to stand up for your team, but I don't understand also the refs how they made those calls. I was pretty excited while the refs were reviewing it, and then they came out with their calls, and I was so confused. I don't understand where the flagrant one is. I don't understand how it's a double technical when all AJ Mitchell did was push him back, which
right.
I guess, but they're not equal. Somebody going
right.
after somebody and pushing him and getting it pushed back. It's not equal double tech. So I don't get that.
I think that's all part of them trying to calm the crowd. Again, like I said, do you think they don't hear the outside noise? They hear everybody saying that the refs favor the Thunder and so on and so forth, and they're human. So I think some of that they're buying into. I think it absolutely affects the way they call the game. Because again, since that happened, I'm going to go back to the Lakers series even. And I was surprised it worked this way, but it did. After Austin Reeves did all that complaining and the Lakers surrounded the refs after that one, I think it was game 2 maybe, they started getting all the calls from there on after, especially Reeves. And I was kind of like, I would think they would have quit giving him calls, but it worked the opposite for him. That once he did all of that complaining and the media was supporting him and the Thunder, this and that, and JJ Redick was saying this and that, all of a sudden, Reeves was living at the free throw line. So, people can say what they want to say. The refs hear this stuff, and they're human, and they're going to respond to it. But I'm just glad that, OKC, I don't think they're, as they have a philosophy as a team, we control what we can control. They don't focus on the refs. They just I think the term they use is we control the controllables. And so I think that's why you don't see them lose composure. Most teams falling behind 15-0 yesterday, it would have been a wrap. I don't care how much depth you have on your team. I think they would have fell apart, and so it just speaks a lot to, again, the maturity of our team. So what do you think as we get ready to go into game 4? Excuse me. Who's feeling the most pressure, in your opinion?
Definitely the Spurs, and I think specifically actually maybe not. I was gonna say specifically the guards because they haven't stepped up. I feel like Castle he hasn't really been that good. Fox he had some moments, but whenever he shot a three or a mid range, I felt good about it. I felt that was a win for the defense. But I think the Spurs in general, because if they lose this game, they not only lost home court advantage, they lost 2 at home. They split on the road. They're down 3-1, and 2 of the next 3 are in OKC. So they're probably gonna come with their best punch next game, which we have to be ready for. I'm hoping OKC understands how desperately the Spurs need game 4, and they match their intensity. But
Right.
yeah, I think Spurs.
And I think I agree with you. I think that that's where I think that experience comes in for us too, though. Because we have been there. We were down 2-1 ourselves last year to Denver. Were we down 2-1 to Indiana? I can't remember.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
I mean, so we know in both of those series, we were down 2-1 and came back and won it. And so I'm quite sure that Shea and Caruso and guys like that are saying, hey, slow your roll, because we were in the same situation they were last year, and we had a parade. So that's where I feel confident that we are not going to get ahead of ourselves. I think we're going to be, if anything, we might be more hungry than people expect because we're trying to put our foot on the gas tomorrow. I don't think we'll go into tomorrow thinking, well, we were trying to get a split. I don't think our guys think that way. We didn't come to San Antonio aiming for a split. As fans, we think that way. Now, as a fan, I feel much more relief knowing that even if we lose, we're 2-2. But I'm greedy, man. I want to win them both in San Antonio because if you think about it, we're not far off from being up 3-0. We very well could be up 3-0 in this series. And so, but as I was discussing with somebody else, I try not to look at it that way because had we ended up winning that first game, who knows what the impact of the next 2 games would have been. It could have, you just don't know. Basketball doesn't necessarily work like that. And so I'd agree with you. I do think that I feel like the Spurs are probably feeling more pressure. One, they're younger, a little bit younger than us, not much, but younger, but they're not experienced. I think that's why you see them losing their composure and wanting to argue, wanting to fight, and going on and doing all these things to where it's not going to help them win the basketball game, being emotionally out of control. And so now we're going to get into the real fun part, and that's where I like to go over the grades for our players before we begin to make our predictions for the next game. Okay. All right. So Hartenstein, what you got for Hartenstein?
I don't think it's as impactful as he was last game, but I still think he did a great job on Wemby. He still was in foul trouble, which you definitely take. But offensively, I don't really remember him doing much. But I feel like he definitely wasn't holding the team back. You didn't feel oh, I wish we had somebody else instead of Hardenstein. So right. I'd say overall, I'd give him a B plus.
Yeah, I'm rolling with a B as well because I agree. I think they were calling some real touch fouls on him in response to all of the complaining that was going on. But at the same token, I think he's all set a tone on Wemby to where, as I alluded to earlier, that we are now matching his size out of the gate as much as you can, a 7'4" guy, but you're going from Hartenstein to Chet back and forth. He's not getting the easy path to the basket anymore. He's having to, we're really making Wemby work right now. And so, yeah, I have a B with him as well. What you got for Chet?
Same thing with Chat. I thought he did a great job on Wemby. I would like to see him shoot more than 7 times, but he had moments in the game where he was like aggressive, like that putback on Shay's jumper and the 3 point shot he made. But I still think he could be better. So I think I would go for it a B plus again, or maybe B somewhere in that range.
Okay. I'm going to be minus on Chat. I agree. I think you're my second best player in theory. If you're going to force my MVP into that type of duress, I've got to be more of a force on offense. And so, I mean, yeah, he made some big shots, but I mean, 7 shots. I mean, I need more than that out of him, and only 3 rebounds in 28 minutes. I mean, come on, Chad. He didn't play bad, but I mean, I just need more. It's just that simple. I need more out of Chad. But I still go B minus. I don't think he hurt us. I see more effort when he's guarding Wemby. He doesn't, to me, seem as starstruck. That might not be the right word to use, but as intimidated. He seems like same thing with Chet. I'm sure Chet's hearing outside noise. And, so I do feel like he's not backing down as much as he was. Shay, what you got with Shay?
I think Shea, like he made like the right passes every time, and he was the reason a lot of guys like Jay Will and McCain got like open shots or open driving lanes. I do think he was inefficient though, and like you definitely see a better like shot making games from Shea. Like I didn't feel like whenever he like pulled up in the mid range, it was like automatic, like how I did feel for a lot of the regular season and like uh I guess like the Phoenix series because he wasn't making shots like that in the Lakers series. But Shea, I give him a B.
Yeah, I think with Shay, uh, I told you I'm a hard grader. I'm going B minus on Shay because I agree with you in many ways. I think that I alluded to this earlier. I still feel that his decision, he controlled the pace the whole game. I thought, he only turned the ball over twice. I thought that he didn't panic. He found the open man. What do you have? 12 assists, only 2 turnovers. But where Shea sometimes scares me is like at the end going for that knockout blow. And that's really where his shooting stats suffer because he hadn't shot the ball that much till towards the end. And I mean, like I said, I think sometimes when he's going for that knockout blow, he'll miss 3 or 4 in a row because there's a lot of pressure. And credit to the Spurs. Like I said, I mean, they have some big guards. And they do make Shea work hard. If I'm being honest with you, like I don't know. I don't want to give the Spurs any ideas. Not that they listen to me, but I think I would try to guard him man up. I think, you're not going to stop him, but their size, if they would stop fouling him, you're going to make him work pretty hard. Be kind of like Wemby almost, really. I think you can make him work hard and try to tire him out. And play everybody man up and see what happens. It'd be interesting to see if they try to do that tomorrow. Lou Dort, what you got with Lou Dort?
He obviously wasn't like taking many shots. He only had 1 shot attempt, and I feel like he's getting phased out. Like you see Case and Wallace playing more than him. You see like McCain playing more. I think Lou, he wasn't bad. He wasn't like shooting us out of the games like he did in the past. But I think one thing I will say, I think I was really impressed with was like the rebounding. I saw him like flying in, especially in the second half, just flying in, grabbing like offensive rebounds and like
Right.
getting second chances for a team, which is huge.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And I almost have to consider he's a starter, yeah, but he's also a role player as well. And here's the thing with Dort. Now I know he's recognized as one of the better defenders, but to me, Dort's matchups are really dependent on who he's guarding. Because I don't think he's necessarily quick enough to guard Fox. To me, his best matchup probably would be Castle, and I said that before. But because Castle is really getting to the basket at will against us. If you want to be honest, he's getting there, and I mean he's a beast. But I do think it's hard to play Dort because it's hard to play him extended minutes, I should say, because of his offensive deficiencies. And if you have him out there, and let's just say, for example, you have Shea out there, depending on the other three you have out there, you're playing sometimes 2 or 3 on 5 offensively. I know at one point in the game yesterday, they had Shea, Kaysen, Dort, Hardenstein, and Jay Will out there, I think it was. And I was thinking, okay, you got a couple of shooters, but I was like, this is going to be hard, because you literally need some floor spacers out there with Shea, especially if they're going to keep trying to double and triple team him like that. So with Dort, he had a -9 on the plus minus. I don't think I'm going C, I guess. That's a nice C for Dort. I don't think he hurt us. He did some good things, but it's just like I said, I think his impact in this series is minimized because we're just going to benefit more by having those other guards out there. Okay, AJ Mitchell, what you got for AJ? Pre-injury.
I wasn't too impressed, to be honest. It is a tough defense with the Spurs, but if you asked me a couple of weeks ago, who do you trust more with the ball, most with the ball, like ball security, I would say AJ, Shea. Like AJ would be one of the first 3 names I named, but he seems to have a trouble with turning the ball over. It's harder for him to get a shot with Wemby lurking, and also Castle and Vassell just being up on him. I just feel like he needs to find a way to create space or draw contact, something to get him a threat offensively. But I think he's definitely seen better days. I think for AJ, I'd go a D+.
B+ or D+?
D+.
Ooh, he went with the big D.
Yeah.
AJ. Yeah, AJ was pretty sloppy for me yesterday. Matter of fact, the one shot he made, I think, was that crazy shot. I can't remember. It was just something. I don't remember what it was specifically, but I do remember ugh, how the heck did he make that? He's just he's not playing as well as he was. And again, some of that I have to attribute to the Spurs defense, I suppose. But he looks nowhere close to the player like he looked like against Phoenix and the Lakers. Because I'm back to the point now where I need to see him coming off the bench, I think, if we can get J-Dub back for sure. Before I would have advocated for him being out there, but he's just not playing with the same confidence right now. Does not seem comfortable with the ball. He had 3 turnovers in 17 minutes. But he's turning the ball over way more than he should be. Now, I saw he had the injury. I haven't heard anything about him today. Have you heard anything?
I haven't
okay,
seen
so
anything.
we'll see what happens with that. All right, Jalen Williams. What you got on Jalen?
I'd go A. There's obviously the 3-point shooting was huge. The fact that he let it fly so often and as he did, just created more space, and obviously the 18 points was great. It was 18, right? Yeah. So, but defensively, I also thought he whenever he matched up on Wemby, I was holding my breath, but he did force Wemby into some tough shots, and I don't think Wemby scored on him unless I'm forgetting a possession. So I'd say A to A+. When you play Jalen Williams 22 minutes, you can't really expect too much more than what he gave you yesterday.
Okay, let me ask you this: would it be safe for us to go ahead and just wrap up Jalen Williams, Caruso, and McCain in the one ball? We had talked about that earlier and give them all an A. Would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah, for sure. A to A+, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, and I would agree with that because as I was looking at this, I thought it's probably not even necessary to talk about them individually because we've talked about that, and I feel like you look at those plus minuses, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams with positive 22, Caruso 28, and McCain 28. That is unbelievable. And all 3 of those guys, like I said, I'm super excited about not only their impact on the game, but I just think all 3 of them, personality-wise, have impacted us in a cultural way. Because all three of those guys are spark plugs. And you think about our starters, none of our starters have that personality. You think about it, Shea's kind of quiet with it. But, when you have guys that coming off the bench that have personality and impact like that, those three, absolutely, I give all three of those guys a strong A+. Now, obviously, Kenrich and he came in at the end, and Wiggins, they just kind of got mop-up minutes. How about Isaiah Joe? Let's look at his 9 minutes. What did you think there?
I think the problem with Isaiah Joe yesterday was the problem with him last playoffs. Like, I don't think he's hurting, obviously, but like, I think he needs to find his shot more. And I don't know if that's his problem with him, like not letting it fly, or like the team's not able to find him. But like, you want to see more shot attempts for Isaiah Joe. I mean, I definitely wouldn't say it's on him because like he doesn't really even get the ball that much. I can't remember him like turning down a shot that much. But like when he's on the court, like that's what he's there for. So if you're not getting that, like it's kind of tough. But he made the 1 3 he took, so which is
right.
good. So
And I think that was that moving 3 off that pick he made.
Yeah, that was a good like I wish we ran more plays like that. Just getting Isaiah Joe like a good look, and then if he like keeps rejecting those looks, then I could judge him more harshly. But like I give him his performance like a B, maybe B minus.
I would agree, somewhere in that area, because again, he only shot the ball once. It's interesting. I mean, literally, McCain has just stolen all of his minutes.
Yeah.
That's just what it is, because some of those minutes definitely would have formerly been. Because you think about it, at one point they were playing together a lot. Isaiah Joe and McCain, and you might see Coach go back to that, but I just think the reason you can't really do that is you lose too much on defense if you have both of those guys out there in that situation. And so I think that's why he's really trying to stagger him with our last guy that we'll grade, and that's Kaysen Wallace. So what you got on Kaysen?
Kaysen, I thought he followed up his defense. I thought that was like a masterclass, like what he did in game 2. But I thought he followed up with another great defensive game. I wouldn't say it's as good, but he definitely did a good job like limiting Fox and Castle. So I think I'd give Kaysen like a B+.
Yeah, I'm going to a B on Kaysen as well. I think he does a lot also that doesn't necessarily show up in the box score, but just his point of attack defense and he the only. Okay, I'm gonna backtrack. His B just turned into a B minus, and because here's the thing, he is the only one, in my opinion, at this point that still seems to be showing too much respect to Wemby. Because I've seen him drive up in there 2 or 3 times and then just dribble out instead of, and it drives me crazy when he does that.
Yeah,
challenge him.
He definitely does that the most out of anybody on the team.
Yes, challenge him, man. I mean, look, if he blocks your shot, oh well. But that's why I was so, man, I could have jumped through the roof when McCain went right at him. I mean, challenge him. He's not the boogeyman. Go at him, And so that's the one area I need Kaysen Wallace. Now, he knocked down a couple of big threes, to be certain. And so, I mean, the thing that I like about him shooting threes now is he's not thinking about it. He's catching it and he's letting it go. And so, even though his shooting percentage wasn't the best, I'm okay with that because he's at least shooting with confidence. And so I'm good with that. But his defensive impact, absolutely, man. It's you can't even, I could almost grade that, one side for offense and one side for defense. His defense is like an A for sure, his impact on the game. So anyway. All right. So we're going to get to our point. We're going to come up with our final takes and our predictions for tomorrow's game. So with that being said, what are your your predictions for tomorrow and your X factors for tomorrow?
I mean, I think I said this last time. I think we really did figure something out. I know I'm like a Thunder fan, so maybe it would be biased, but I'm still picking the Thunder. Like as until the Spurs show me that they have like an answer for our defensive game plan on Wemby, I'm gonna keep picking them. And I like the Spurs, even if they don't, I think the Spurs still have a chance to win. I'm not predicting like a blowout, but like I think with the way we're playing right now and the way they're playing, like we're just a better team, unless like some outlier shooting performance happens. So I still think it will be a close game with it being in San Antonio, and we don't know the status of J-Dub. So I'd go with another close win for the Thunder, maybe like by 7 points.
Okay, what's your X factor?
I think it's still like keeping the bigs and how well the bigs do on Wemby. Because I think if we limit Wemby, like if we limit Wemby and then the guards have a great game, which I don't think they will, like we could live with that. But like if Wemby like has that same like crazy rebounding, crazy like efficiency game that he had in game one, like we're we're battling uphill then.
Yeah. All right. So my prediction is the only game I can honestly say I was worried about losing. No, that'd be a lie. I was worried yesterday. I can't say I wasn't worried about losing yesterday. I'll say the game I wasn't surprised we lost the first one because I wasn't really sure how we would come out. I didn't know what I expected Coach Dagnall's adjustments to be. I knew we were coming off a week. I just didn't know what to expect. And so, so that part I didn't necessarily. And I just, hold on, I just got some breaking news, I think. AJ Mitchell is out tomorrow. So, AJ Mitchell's been ruled out.
Does it say what the injury is?
What did he leave with? Because actually, my son just sent that to me. I'm not totally sure.
It says here it right soleus strain.
So,
and it says questionable.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna put it like this: AJ scored 2 points in 17 minutes yesterday. Okay, that's more minutes for McCain. Maybe Isaiah Joe brings it. I mean, more minutes for Cruz. Only played 24. So I mean, it's fine.
I mean,
does that change your prediction any? Does that change your prediction?
No, I was kind of like expecting like J-Dub to be out and like AJ to be out, but I do think like you'd rather have him than not because like even if he's not giving you that much, like I trust Mark to like just not play him and like play the guy who's producing more.
Yeah, I mean, even though like I said, he's scaring me with his ball handling, he's still a ball handler. So it's whatever. I'm still going with a win. I think my X factor is how well our role players will continue to play. And I also believe that this is really going to be it's going to be determined on what defense the Spurs decide to play, because I don't know. Will they man up now and just kind of think, okay, where they're missing, 2 of their better players, let's just go man up. And if Shea scores 50, fine, but we shut everybody else down. Because you think about it, that's another way they can go with it at this point. We can say, hey, let's let Shea do what he does. He's not going to score 100. Let him get his 40 or 45. But let's make sure these McCains and Carusos and those guys don't hurt us anymore. That might be their next philosophy.
I hope if that does happen, Shea recognizes it early and is aggressive, like taking as much shots as he can take. Because I trust Shea on a one-on-one matchup.
Okay. All right. So, what is your final take before we wrap up? Your final take.
It's going to be tough with the lack of ball handling, but I think we've seen guys step up, and I think the big difference in this series so far has been the bench, and I think it'll continue to be that way.
Okay. My final take is this. I hope, and I feel confident, but I just hope that we continue to keep our foot on the gas. There's a saying, all gas, no brakes. And so while we've got them down, I want to see us come in with a sense of desperation. And I feel confident, as I said earlier, that because we were in the same situation the Spurs were in last year, it's hard for me to believe that wouldn't be a teaching point because you know how we think. You know how the Thunder players are. You know our coaching. There's no way they won't allude to that. We were down 2-1 last year twice, and we hoisted the trophy. So I don't think there's a level of comfort in them. But that's my final take. I want to see them go in there with that next man up mentality, keep their foot on the gas, and let's get that second game in San Antonio and leave up 3-1.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my final take is. So I'm excited. I like our chances. And hopefully when we come back and do our next show, we'll be up 3-1 and get ready to send those boys packing when we go back to Oklahoma City on Tuesday.
Yeah,
all right,
that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for joining us. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. So again, I'd like to remind you to please like, share, and subscribe. We would like to get this content out to as many Thunder fans across the nation as humanly possible. Thank you for joining Dr. D's Takes, keeping it 100. Class is dismissed.